Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about the exact way attractive men talk that instantly pulls women in. So I'm going to go into some things that you can start to adopt into your own personality, and you can start practicing some of these things so that you can become more attractive to women in the way that you talk to them. So one of the first things though that I want to get into though before we go into these things is that in order for a woman to find you attractive by the way that you talk, she already has to have some kind of attraction for you in some shape or form. Because if a woman, meets you and she's just not attracted to you, then it doesn't matter really what comes out of your mouth, because she's just not going to feel it because she just isn't attracted to you. But for those women, because there's usually two types of women that you'll meet in your life that are attracted to you. There's those women that are on the fence about you, who could be swayed either way. So, for example, if you display attractive behavior, they'll become more attracted to you. If you display unattractive behavior, you could potentially lose those women and they would just walk out of your life because of the unattractive behavior. And then there's those women that are just so enthusiastic about you, that like you so much that you can make a lot of mistakes and still sort of get away with it, basically. But of course, you obviously don't want to make any mistakes, but which is not, it's not like you're never ever going to make a mistake. I'm sure there's going to be times when you can have a vulnerable moment and perhaps, come on a bit too strong or get a bit emotional or just display weakness or unconfidence in some way. That can make, even a woman who's really, really attracted to you a little less attracted to you. But with those women that are enthusiastic about you, you can get away with that happening sometimes. Whereas it's a lot harder to get away with that with women who are on the fence, because they can easily just sort of slip out of your fingers, basically. Slip out of your hands. So let's get into these exact ways that attractive men talk. So you can start talking like this too, and you can start adopting these into your personality. So, because basically a lot of these things are skills. You can learn these things. A lot of guys may instinctively know how to do this if they have a lot of confidence already, a lot of self-esteem. They grew up in a very loving household. Whereas guys that have perhaps had the opposite of that may need to learn how to do these things. But I promise you that it's within you, and it's something within your capabilities, unless you have perhaps like a learning disability or something like that. So it's something that you can, it's easily workable. You can easily integrate these. So let's get into the first one. Sorry, it's taking me out blabbing. I'm so sorry. Right, so let's get into the first one then, which is one of the ways that attractive men talk is that most of the time they're not being serious. So you've got to develop a non-serious attitude. Because one of the things that women like in a guy, other than confidence, because obviously confidence is one of those things that you definitely just have to have, right? To make a woman feel more attracted to you. But another thing that women say that they like in men is if they can make them laugh. They want a guy that will make them laugh. And the best way to do that is to not be serious, just to sort of, act kind of naughty, act kind of cheeky, and just to not take yourself or other people seriously, and just have fun with your life. Because one of the things that will draw a woman to you is if she notices in the way that you talk about your life, in the way that you talk to other people, in the way that you talk to her, that you're just having fun with it, you're just trying to make the best of it, and that makes a woman like you. That will make a woman more attracted to you, and she'll want to hang out with you because you're not taking life too seriously. You're not talking about things that are just down in the dumps 24/7, and you're just trying to make the best of it, right? And that women like that. Women like that in a man if they can sense that. Okay, so the way that might sort of, to give you an example, the way that might manifest is, let's say you're out with a woman on a date, and you're just cracking jokes, you're just having fun with it, and sometimes you say things like that are kind of like on the basically what everybody's thinking but they're not actually saying. So those kinds of things, those kinds of jokes, those kinds of the jokes that are a little bit like, oh, you shouldn't really say that, but you do, right? But it's not like you're, let's say if it's in the expense of someone else, you're not like saying it to that person. You might just be like whispering it to your date, so for example, let's say you're on a date with a woman and there's a waiter that is a little bit slow or something like that, and maybe they're dropping things, and you can just, say something funny about that to the girl that you're dating, and not in a too much of an offensive way, obviously, because she might not like that, but in a way that's like, he's not having a good night. I wonder what happened to him, and you can kind of like make up a little story about what's happened, like, oh, I bet he just got dumped by his girlfriend, or I bet I bet there's a girl here that he has a crush on, and that's why he just keeps on fumbling all of like the plates and stuff. Just being sort of like that, and it's kind of fun as well to like do that when you're out, like kind of people watch with the girl that you're on a date with, and you can kind of like, again, like come up with stories as to why these people are there. And like I said, it's not like you're saying this to those people and getting them offended. You're just, saying them to the girl that you're with, like in hushed tones. So you just have like a little inside joke going on and things like that. Another thing that might be, let's say you're on, again, you're on a date with a woman, and let's say a guy walks in, and let's say he's like a goth, right? And he's got like loads of tattoos on him, and he's got really long hair, and he's like dressed like very, like, maybe he's even got like one of those like necklaces that has like the spikes coming out of it. And let's say, and you say to her like, oh, look, I think your boyfriend just walked in, it's something, things like that, and it just shows that you're not very serious. You don't take life very seriously. You don't take people too seriously, and you certainly don't take yourself seriously. And also don't take her too seriously too. Don't be afraid to like, banter with her and joke with her and tease her. Let's say let's say you're having dinner with her, right? And let's say you get, let's say you buy like, for yourself, you buy like steak and chips and stuff, and then she orders a salad, and you can be like, oh, so you're one of those girls that don't eat, just one of those like sort of like little comments, and of course you're saying this with a smile on your face, because obviously, eating disorders are a real thing, maybe she has one, but you're saying it with a smile on your face, you're doing it to tease her, you're not necessarily doing it to be mean and to call her out on something, okay? It's you got to sort of behave like, I'm going to treat you like a brat, but deep down, you know that I care about you, right? It's like one of those sort of things. And that's how attractive men talk to women. And the reason why that's attractive to women is because most of the guys that she talks to and comes into contact with is a simp, right? And he's saying all these things, he says a lot of stuff to try and impress her, to try and make himself look good. And he's saying a lot of stuff, and he withholds saying some things because he doesn't want to offend her in any way, shape or form, even if it is just a gentle tease. And she can just sense that this guy, this simp that she's on a date with, is just caring too much about everything, about what he says and the way that he presents himself, and the sharing his achievements and stuff and bigging himself up. It's just unattractive. Like, she can sense that he's trying too hard. With a guy that just sort of jokes and banters and kind of just says what is on his mind, not taking things too seriously, just having fun with it, just having a great time, she likes that guy more because she can relax too around that guy. Because you can't relax around a guy that's is taking things too seriously. Okay, so just be non-serious, and you can do that in the way that you talk, and just banter and tease, basically. Just have fun with it. So another way that attractive men talk as well is not necessarily in what they're saying, but what they do is they have a healthy fascination with people. So the things that they do say are to do with like asking quality questions. Okay, so when you're on a date with a woman, you want to know her, obviously, because that's why you're on a date. So you become fascinated with her life, because when a lot of people talk, okay, this goes for women as well. This is not just a guy thing, definitely not. And that is, they're not listening to the other person to understand them. They're listening to the other person so they can reply and come up with something that they want to say. Or they're just waiting for them to stop talking so they can put their point across, and they're not really listening and engaging with what the person is saying. And that's not just with when a guy's on a date with a woman. That could be throughout his whole life. And again, this is something that women do too. So attractive men do have a healthy fascination with people. And they are considerate to the person that's talking by listening to them thoroughly and seeking really to understand, not just to reply. They want to understand, okay? So when a woman is telling you about her life, be fascinated by it. And if you find her life boring in some way, then maybe she's not the girl for you. But the idea is that you want to develop a healthy fascination with pretty much everybody, so you can strike up a conversation with anyone and get them to talk about their lives and stuff. Because that's one of the good things that I personally like about myself, is that I'm really good at getting people to open up and talk about themselves. And that's something that you can easily adopt. And the way that you do that is just by being considerate and really focusing on listening and understanding the other person, and getting them to talk and just, like I said, just open up. And you do that by asking quality questions, right? And so if you notice that someone lights up when they talk about a certain topic, it could be their favorite band, it could be her TV, her favorite TV show, it could be her dog, it could be her car, it could be her career, and she lights up whenever she talks about it, get her to talk more, ask her more questions about that, because obviously that's something that she wants to talk about, and it's something that makes her feel good when she talks about it. So have a healthy fascination with people. And like I said, don't just do this with women, but do this with everybody. Develop a fascination with people, because people are fascinating. People have interesting lives. And even you can find the boring stuff interesting. Okay, and if you can find a way to find the boring stuff interesting, then you're going to have not just girls and women that are interested in you, but also, you're going to have better quality friendships too. Okay. So the last point that I want to get into is getting to the point. Okay, something I'm finding very hard to do in this video, but getting to the point. So what I mean by getting to the point is an attractive man will not just sit around and like, oh, you know what, I'll just get to know her over text for a while and then maybe I'll ask her out, or I'll just be her friend first and then maybe she'll fall in love with me in a few months and stuff like that. And just basically doing anything but asking her out, right? That's unattractive. Okay, so an attractive man, if he likes a woman, he'll just ask her out. If he sees a woman and he thinks that she's available, so let's say he meets a woman at work or at school, depending on where he is at his life right now, or if he sees a woman on the night out with his buddies and she looks interesting to him, she looks beautiful, he feels like drawn to her and pulled to her, he would just go up and ask for a number or ask her out, simply, and he gets to the point. And when he's on a dating app, an attractive man will get to the point. If they're chatting on the dating app, he'll be like, wow, you know what? You seem really cool. You seem really interesting. I would love to meet up with you. When are you free? And he just gets to the point. He just makes it happen. Okay. Rather than, I'll wait for her to make the first move. I'll wait for her to ask me. I just want to see how things, no. If he's attracted to her, he asks her out. Right? And then if she says no, or she's not interested in some shape or form, he'll know then not to waste any more energy or time on her. Okay, because one of the things that can happen, and this happens a lot, right, is a guy likes a woman, and this can happen to women too. This is not just something that happens to guys, but let's just go from that point of view. So let's say a guy likes a woman, and let's say they work together, yeah, and he gets her information, like maybe he adds her on Facebook and stuff or Instagram, and maybe he sends her a few jokes, and they're sort of like talking a little bit and they're chatting and stuff, and maybe she sends him some stuff that's kind of funny too, and they're just chit-chatting for a while, and then all of a sudden he says to her, oh, I really like you. He may just even say that. He may not even say anything about asking her out, but he might just say, oh, I just wanted to let you know that I really like you. And basically, if she says to him, oh, sorry, I don't feel the same, it's very likely that that guy is going to continue liking her from afar, or even maybe just be like, okay, well, let's just be friends. And then he's just sort of like hoping that things are going to change and that she's going to change her mind about him, even though she's rejected him. Because basically what's happened is that he's built up his emotions towards her. He's built up his fascination towards her because he took too long to just ask her out. So basically his feelings for her have been fermenting and stewing for a long time, and now they've just bubbled to the surface, and he said, I like you, and it's probably been like weeks or like months of him having a massive crush on her, and now the blow is even worse when she rejects him or puts him in friend zone. And then it's even harder for him then to move on from her, because he's had all these emotions and this big emotional investment put into her. And it's just a lot more difficult for him to get over it. And maybe he still hopes that maybe something will change, so he just hangs out in the sidelines. Whereas if he had just, the moment he felt attraction for her, if he had just got to rejection quickly, right, and just asked her out straight away when he started to feel like, oh, she's hot, I want to date her, I like her in that way, and she would have rejected him, then the blow would have actually been a lot less, because it happened quicker and he hadn't had time to really like build up his emotions and feelings. Yeah, it still sucks. Rejection sucks no matter what, no matter what time you do it, but it sucks even more when it's been like months or even years, and it happened at that point, because you've been building up these feelings for a long time. So attractive men, what they do is they don't allow that to happen to themselves. Yeah, it still sucks when they get rejected, but at least then nothing has built up to that point. So that's what they do. They get to the point. They want to get the ball rolling, and they say, right, well, I'm interested in you. Let's go out on a date. When are you free? And a lot of the time as well is that because he's so direct and because he's so confident straight away, even women that are a little bit like, not 100% sure if they're attracted, still kind of like maybe agree to the date because he was just really bold and went for it. And because he's also an attractive man and he knows how to talk to women in attractive ways, he's able to sway those women into liking him more. Okay, so those are the exact ways that attractive men talk to women, and it instantly pulls them in. So if you'd like more tips on how to attract beautiful women, then you can read my book, Attracting the Beautiful Woman of Your Dreams, which you can read for free on my website. Just go to the link in the description, go to the menu and click on the book. You don't have to log in, you don't have to sign up. It's just there for you to read on the website. It takes you straight to the PDF reader, okay, when you click on the book on the menu on the website. And if you'd like coaching with me, then you can go to the same website, again, link in the description, and just pick whichever coaching option works best for you at this current time. And I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.